Good evening. We're going to discuss this evening a certain utensil that we use at least weekly in our homes and decide if we need to get a new one, kosherize it, or leave it as is. And we're talking about an urn. Maybe you want to call it a meham Shabbat, an urn, a hot water kettle. Do you need a new one for Pesach? Could you kosherize yours? Or do you just use it as is? So this is more of a practical issue and topic more than a halachic one. That is, if for any reason your urn has been in contact with hametz, and we'll give examples how, then it needs to be kosherized. If it's overused and it's so dirty that it cannot be kosherized, then you'll need to buy a new one. Yes, there are those that have a tradition to buy a new one as well, but according to the basic and practical law, a new urn will not need to be bought if you can kosherize it. So let's discuss what could the worst scenario be with the urn. Worst scenario could be one of two cases. Either taking bread and putting it on top of your urn to heat up bread on Shabbat, which almost no one does. And if you did it, so then we'll have to deal with that. More common is, let's say you take a cup of oatmeal or any type of hot cereal, and you open it up and you turn it on, and while you're letting that bowl fill up, steam of chametz is going right back into the urn, rendering the urn hametz, if you would say so. And therefore, the way to kosherize that, if you've done any of that, is obviously to wash it very clean, fill it up with hot water, and once it's full, empty it out. Maybe put a bowl under that you open up, and then fresh steam can go, empty steam, water steam can go back and kosherize it. If you don't ever do that with your urn, all that needs to be done for your urn is it needs to be washed down. The base needs to be washed well, because the base that's on your countertop is very often near other chametz items, or bread, or crumbs, or anything as such. So practically, we need to make sure there's no crumbs or dirt. If it really is a non-kosher, meaning a chametz item, it depends on the type of usage. And if you use it that way, so that it needs to be clean, and hot water needs to be poured on it, and steamed. If not, practically speaking, just wiping it down will be fine. Many people, again, have the custom to have a new urn for Pesach. The law is that it doesn't necessarily need to if it was not used as chametz. Now, a kettle that is used, a kumkum as we like to call it, is more often poured directly on food items. Right? Shabbat, the mecham Shabbat, we normally don't let that pour directly into food, because you need anyways kli sheni. So then there's nothing to talk about over there. But the kumkum that we use all year long, most of the time does have at least some steam that goes back into the kumkum. So it doesn't make it now not kosherized. You could kosherize it if you would like to. You could either buy a new one, or you could kosherize it. How do you kosherize it? You heat up the water in it, you let it boil, and then other hot water needs to be poured right on it, and then it is fine. Again, all granted that it is all clean. That's the law when it comes to kumkums and urns. When it comes to coffee machines, it gets a little more difficult. A coffee machine needs to make sure that if the only coffee you use has no flavor, and it's 100% coffee, and theoretically speaking, if it is on one of those lists that you could use for Pesach, you could use it anyways all year long, there is big room to say that it would be also permissible to use a coffee machine, your regular one, all year long. But as soon as you have any type of flavor or any other things that are in there, then you're going to need to kosherize it, and it gets quite difficult to know how to do. So normally coffee machines, if it's used for other than 100% pure and no additional flavors to the coffee, we try to get a new one. Last I will speak about, and this is 99% of the time you need to get a new one, is a toaster oven. Okay? A toaster oven. Again, it's a practical issue. Halachically, you could definitely kosherize it. We could kosherize almost anything. Practically, you're almost never going to have your toaster oven fully empty of all sesame seeds and crumbs. It's just a practical issue. It's almost impossible to get it super clean. There's no self-clean mode on it. So halachically, if you just got it, you use it a couple times, and it's not dirty at all, there's no crumbs. Yeah, there's ways to clean it and put onto its hottest setting, just like an oven. But a toaster oven that you've been using all year long, and your toast goes in there, and other items go in there, and there's crumbs, and there's so many different things, you would be better off not using that on Pesach, not kosherizing it, and for not too much money, either buying a new one or doing without it. Okay, so that's the laws of those smaller utensils that are used at the homes. I'll take any questions regarding those.